All right, let's see how this goes.
Hey Dad, you should make something cool.
After a bass guitar that I recently made, my daughter decided she wanted one as well. So we picked out, she decided she wanted a lead guitar instead. So we picked out a kit that she liked to look up. And she's picked out some color paint, and we're going to see about doing another one. This time, I'm going to try and video the entire process from beginning to end. So, it should be good. The particular kit I got, just ordered off of Amazon, D.I.Y kit, came with all the hardware, electronics, and everything, so we should be good for a lot of this. One thing I do like about this, you see the parts are number matched by the manufacturer, so this is, and the reason they do this is so that when we have the body number matched to here, we take the body and we take the neck, and we will find that we do in fact have a relatively perfect fit. Life is good, no problems. So that's good. One thing I was happy to see was that the instructions came with a measured out template for the headstock. What I was not happy to see was when I laid the template over the holes, they in fact did not line up. This is about 90 to 95% of the full size. So basically what I had to do was I went through and kind of just went through real quick and did a sketch to lay it out. We're just going to have to hand gauge this and do the best we can, I think, but we should be close. Now we're not customizing the body at all, so this is just going to be a sand tune and finish, and we're ready to rock and roll. We are going to cut sand the headstock the way it needs to be, so we should have all the cutting and sanding done today, and we should be ready for paint very, very quickly for this. So let's go ahead and get started.
So I'm not a fan of super long drawn out build videos where there's a lot of noise and not much to talk about. So I'm just going to voice over the rest of this. It's going to save everyone's ears having to listen to the power tools, and we can just time lapse the long drawn out doing of things. Now I've already hand sketched the outline of the headstock by making some rough measurements to the cut edge from the tuning peg holes. So I'm going to start this off by making just a rough cut of the headstock with jigsaw. Getting this secured in the bench without crushing it was a matter of trial and error. I am thinking for the future I really need to invest in a good project table. Something with a lot of peg holes and something that's heavy enough that it won't wobble around on me. I probably also have one, probably need to build one for the indoor shop that'll go with the rest of the cabinetry I'm working on. Now I've just cut outside the line I drew, and I'm going to finish shaping it on the oscillating sander where I can just creep up on the line. Now you'll note that I'm using different parts of the belt to get inside and outside curves nice and smooth. If I had this in the spindle configuration, I'd be swapping out different size spindles to make it all happen, and I'd still have to go back and use the either use the belt or use one of the sanding blocks to get the flat edges smoothed out. So really, using the belt configuration is just a time saver. Now that I've smoothed out the shape, I want to take the corners down a bit, as they are currently 90-degree edges and they are as sharp as can be. Now to do this, I'm using a combination of cabinet scrapers and a small hand plane. Now, I ended up digging in a little too far with the plane on one pass, and it took a pretty good gouge out of the corner that I was working on, so I'm going to need to do some filling and shaping before I can paint. I think this is because I had the blade set a little too low. We're talking fractions of a millimeter, but it does make all the difference. With the shape pretty well set, I think I'm ready to start sanding this out. I am going to start by just cleaning things up. I'm going to keep a cabinet scraper handy as I'm going around the edge of the headstock. I'm going to get the putty set in so that it can start drying, because we'll have to come back and do a second round of shaping and sanding around that. So from there, it's just sanding sponges to get around all the curves, make things sure everything's nice and smooth. And once I get started on the body, I'm going to switch over, starting with the orbital sander, where I've got 200 grit discs. And then from there, I can use 400 and 600 foam blocks for all the hand sanding and to get around the edges. Now you'll note that I am going through cleaning up the cavities in the body before I dig into the sanding. I want to make sure I have nice smooth edges inside the cavities, because I am going to be laying some foil tape over this as shielding. And I certainly don't want that getting torn up, and I don't want the wiring snagging on anything. So we're going to clean that up before we start any of the big sanding. Now, I know a lot of you are sitting here going, oh my gosh, you should be wearing a respirator or a dust mask or something. And you're absolutely right. I should be. But the truth of the matter is, it is a hot day out, and there's actually a really good wind blowing across the patio. You can see the dust is actually blowing away from me. So I am going to be stupid. I am going to be lazy today. If you see me doing this on a day when either the wind is blowing back towards me, or if there is no wind, yes, I absolutely will be wearing a respirator. No arguments. Now I'm trying to make even passes over everything. You'll see me stopping every few minutes to feel the surface for smoothness. Stopping to feel the wood is important, as you can easily tell if you aren't smooth enough for the next step. You'll also note this is why I'm really not wearing gloves for any of this, because I want to be able to feel the surface that I'm working on. Now for sanding the edges, I'm trying not to clamp the body because I don't want to mar the finish I just put on the faces. Obviously, I did this backwards. Two options are to sand the edges first, at which point then I can put it in, lay it down flat, and sand the face, no problem. The other option is to either use a piece of towel as like a pad around the clamp, so that it'll hold nicely without actually causing any problems. Either that, or maybe get some cork strips to put, or foam padding to put on the faces of the clamp. Those are some ideas to remember for next time.
So I'm looking at gray clouds forming, and it looks like our sawdust making time is over for the moment. I'm going to go do a little bit of research on and talk to Miss G about what she wants with this guitar. We may do a little body shaping on it if it's what she wants, but in the meantime, I'm going to pack everything up before it gets wet out here, because that would be bad all around. So we'll catch you on the next one.